G'day and welcome to Club Prairie Fire Season 9, Episode 5. We are the protectors of Tequila, Tabasco and the Ducky Lewis Stern system. This episode I'm calling, well, we got that one wrong. Yes, 295 runs before tea on day 4, a crushing defeat for the Australian team on home soil in their first test of the border Gavaskar Trophy after having the Indians on the ropes in the first innings, all out for what appeared to be a measly 150. Oh, how wrong we were. We all discounted them. They lost to New Zealand at home. There's no Mohammad Shami or Rohit Sharma in the first test, and probably more said than anything else, Virat cannot score runs anymore. Well, we forgot one thing. They are India, and lately they have been loving pulling the pants down under. That sounded dodgier than it was meant to. Sorry about that. Now, two men that were in Perth that studied every microsecond of play, that consulted each team's new meteorologist before the start of every day, that ran a nice, moist jelly bean over every ball that was delivered. It was Adam Gilchrist and Michael Vaughan. Welcome, gents. Let's start with you, Vaughany. You look like you're outside of the Cooge. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm just, evening, morning, wherever you are. Yeah, I'm just down to the Cooge. There you go. There's the Cooge. That's from my room down in the Cooge. Yeah, it's nice to be back a day early. Yeah, the Aussies got the job done quickly, which was nice of them to do that. Sometimes you just get the wrong end of the toss, don't you? It can happen. It can happen.
Gilly, how are you, mate? Obviously, you hung around in Perth, I'm guessing, but you got an extra day at home?
I did, yes. Yeah. Hey, guys. Very vital day. Good admin day. So, well done. If you're going to lose quickly. That frees it up for everyone. You don't need this shit drawn out long time. Get knocked over, get quick, allows everyone to get on with their life. But you're right about that toss, Vaughany. I mean, that at the end of the day, it's been clear the 5 test matches in Perth, win the toss, win the game. So they're a bit stiff there, the Aussies, I reckon. And it's a bit like what we had with Nigeria and Ivory Coast, little thing that we threw around in the group chat. Nigeria win the toss, bat first, 271 for 4 off 20. Decent. Ivory Coast all out 7. So apparently the fog came in a little bit later, just started seaming around, hit the rope a bit, nibbled.
I played on that venue, Gilly. It's a dodgy deck. If you win the toss, that's what happens. It's almost like they should actually. The outcome of the game should purely be on the toss.
Yeah, it spoils it.
Yeah, it's wasted time just batting. You've won if you've won the toss.
I did. You might as well, as soon as that toss comes down in your favour, that team that didn't call correctly should go straight to the pub. 5th match. That was the 5th match. I'm wondering about the previous 4 in Lagos. But anyway.
Vaughany, that isn't Lagos, Portugal, where you go, sorry. That is actually Lagos, Nigeria.
Yeah. It's never been a good pitch. The ground staff there, they don't do a great job.
Now, that voice you heard, I'll bring him in very quickly. We are going to, we will dissect, I guess, a touch. You two might be sick of it. But that first test, I'll bring in our producer, Ollie. What's been happening? Where are we? Why don't you set the scene for where we are?
Yeah, we didn't see as much cricket.
No.
We've been travelling around a bit. No jokes, I think we've been between us in 11 European countries in the last 3 days due to missed flights, cancellations, and looking for baggage, hence we're dressed like this.
Just on that, Ollie, it looks like, and I know there's people that listen to this, they can't see the actual visual, but it looks like you're wearing a life jacket. Has it been that big a trip that you're drinking that much, you're nearly drowning?
No, I'm just spending that much time with some certain former wallabies that that it's needed. That is right.
100%. So we lost our bags 5 days ago, courtesy of KLM Airlines. I hope neither of you are sponsored by them because they're not great.
They're poor, very poor. I should have told you that before you came to Europe. Very poor.
Mate. So 5 days I've been wearing the same stuff. So I now do inside out undies every second day. And right now, poor old, I don't know what the smell's like next to you, mate, but they've told us, so the bags followed us from Edinburgh to Amsterdam. Then we were meant to go to Zurich, but last minute they changed us to Frankfurt. So then from Frankfurt, the bags were meant to follow us to Nice. And then from Nice, they were meant to follow us to Monaco. Now, they never got anywhere. So we think these bags are going to meet us in Dubai, but we
On the way home.
yeah, we don't know.
But that is right. But in a week, be in Adelaide. Very excited to be back for that test match. And on that, speaking of people who do know travel, good flights, hotels, don't lose your bag. It's the CATO gang, obviously. Cricket Australia Travel Office. They're all over this side thing. And we're going to get in early because once again, we had some great reaction to Sourav's story. And Partik Patel actually collaborated on the story. You may have seen on Instagram. He loved his little mention thinking he's the team manager's son at immigration. So I'm making my way slowly to Adelaide for next week. But Vaughany, you touched on it 2 weeks ago, I think it was with, or last week, sorry, with Haydos episode, and you spoke about the Barmy Army all coming to Gillies. We'll get an update on that before the third test. But you mentioned an incident in Adelaide and running with some of the fans.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've had a couple of incidents. So it was in Parlamentos. We sat there just having a nice pass, and suddenly things started to get thrown at the window. I thought they were throwing it at us, but they were just throwing it at the window because there were idiots on the street. So, yeah, Adelaide's a great place to travel to. I actually remember Adelaide in 2002, Gil. I was batting out in the middle. You probably remember this. And I think it was Andy Bickle bowled me a ball. I drove at it, and it just looped to Justin Langer at cover point. He took a lovely catch down low, but it was in the area where you could go, oh, I'm not too sure about that. So I went, oh, I'm not too sure about that. And the umpire decided to go upstairs, and look, it's gone straight to the heart of JL's hand. It bounced straight in the heart. I just thought I chanced my arm, and behold to me, the umpire upstairs, and I think it was my dad, came back and said, we think that's hit the ground first. Well, the barrage that JL gave me all day, and I managed to score 100, and I was out late on in the day. Dizzy had cracked my shoulder with the bouncer. And I remember sitting in the dressing room, and all the Aussies, you all came in, and shook my hand. And I had ice packs on my knee, on my shoulder, apart from JL. So, yeah, that's really my fondest memory of Adelaide. And also Glenn McGrath in the second innings taking a catch, which I think he was meant to take in his right hand, and it ended up being taken in his left hand. It kind of flicked him off one hand into the other. So, yeah, and the plum chicken that you have at the Adelaide Oval, probably the best chicken on the circuit. I mean, Lord's is obviously the best food on the circuit, full stop. But if there's a comparative of a bit of competition, I reckon the plum chicken at the Adelaide Oval, that is up there with what you get at Lord's.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. No, well, so, and the footnote to that McGrath story, taking that blinding catch in the second innings, where you were the last of the resistance of us powering to another test win. McGrath was at deep backward square. He was, as the ball was bowled, he turned and realised he was 40 metres out of position because there'd been a single the previous ball, and he was signing autographs. And have you seen, mate, I've never seen a pigeon fly faster. Purely not because he wanted to get the catch. He didn't want to get the wrath of Steve Waugh. So he ended up diving full stretch and asked the arsiest catch in history. But it was a blinding catch. We got Vaughany out. We managed to knock over the rest of the tail. And about half an hour after stumps started pissing down rain. So if McGrath hadn't taken that catch, they might have held on for a draw. So it was a good thing he was out of position.
And just also, when you play at the Adelaide Oval, people won't know this. I mean, even if you score 100, you come into your own dressing room and you can see that your teammates are looking at you as if to say, how did you bat? Well, I've got 100. Did you not watch the way I was playing? And they all went, well, actually not, because we're looking out the back windows of all the chicks that are dressed up.
Yeah, it is like a day at the races out the back window at the Adelaide Oval. Very social. It's a social test match.
Yeah, which is why Ollie's going down.
Yeah, about to say that's. I do like a few things in that story. Gilly said we got Vaughany out and then the rest of the tail. So the tail started at 3 back in that year, clearly. But it's cricket.com.au/travel, and it's in literally in December. Those travel packages will be on sale from those guys for the Ashes next year.
Well, Ollie, just on the Ashes. That's if the Ashes will take place. Obviously, if Australia get a pound in here, England might fall out.
They might change it to against New Zealand.
That's a good series. They might just pull out. So we'll have to just see how the Aussies go over the next few weeks.
Yeah, they might do the state scene, New South Wales.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, you mentioned some sledging from Langer in there, and you mentioned Steve Waugh. Now, they both got a bit of mentions in last week's episode. And Gilly, don't know if you watch it, a lot of comments, where's Gilly on the Dada episode?
Yeah.
But one thing that came up was, and you saw it in the social, him going, everyone thinks Gilly's this really nice guy, but he's one of the worst chirpers ever. And Vaughany straight, I agree. Any
Totally agree.
comments back?
No, totally agree. Totally agree. Absolutely. I got everyone bluffed. So, no, it's perfect. I like that.
Hey, just on Sourav, lads, I like humbleness in anyone that comes on the podcast. I think it's very important that they're very humble. And just to read you this text message that he sent me. When did the game start? Saturday or Friday? It sent Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Yeah.
So the game started Friday. They got obviously bowled out for 150. Then they bowled Australia out for 104. And this arrived at 12 minutes past 5 on Saturday. Hi, Michael. My prediction's going well.
Didn't waste any time. Now, Gilly, can you be honest? Were you stuck in traffic, or was there what were you doing? Were you?
I was down, as you know, I was down south in the southwest of WA. I was an Uber driver for a week for my 17-year-old son, who was at Levers. They call it Levers over here. Maybe on the East Coast, they call it Schoolies.
It is Schoolies, yeah.
What they call it around the rest of the world, if it all happens over in the UK, Vaughany, where all the kids that graduate from year 12 go and basically have a big fizz up and big party. And it's quite remote down there where they stay and all the different venues where they've got to be. So I was down there with a little minivan, just driving him and 10 of his mates around various party to party to make sure that they weren't doing anything irresponsible and jump behind the wheel of a car. So that was me. And there was a little bit of an accident on one of the very remote roads that actually had me pinned there, and I could not get back to my house in time to log in. So I was disappointed. I did text you, Ollie, my message to Sourav about his 100 at the Gabba. Yeah, I know that. But having then seen his comment about me, he can go and get stuffed.
It's the type of thing as well. I know if you miss a pod where you kind of want to death ride the numbers a touch.
Yeah, it's like when you get signed
very good.
You get on as a independent director on a publicly listed company in the share price. You go,
Now, gents, you've obviously spoken about this game to death. We'll play a bit of choose your own adventure here. Obviously, India got it done by, as I said, 295 runs. Day 4, session 3. Have you got what's your biggest takeaway from the match? Gilly, do you want to go first?
There's a fair bit to unpack for the Aussies, obviously, about all the discussion about top order. I think the biggest takeaway is probably, look, I expect Australia to fire a shot back somewhere very soon. They don't lose all their talent, overnight, and they can't be complete easy beats. And if you play the game long enough, you're gonna go in dips and so on. But I think the glaring thing in the microscope is on the next rung of players. I think that's what jumped out for me. India, they did have a number of forced changes, and their replacements came in and looked very comfortable at that level in those conditions, which were meant to be frighteningly foreign conditions. Immediately, Australia, you look at, okay, we've got a bit of a faltering top order at the moment, and it's one game this season, but last season they weren't exactly impressive, and they know that. It's no secret. But then when you go to the next, I think, Vaughany, you might have in one of your stints were trying to hypothesise as to who the next 11 players would be if you had to pick a second Australian Test team at the time. So that's a little bit concerning. I don't think there's anyone jumping out.
Do you want my response?
I would like for you to respond.
I think the Australians. If they win the toss at the pink ball game, I think they'll be fine. Clearly, if you bat first, you control when you bat. Even if you get bowled out when you bat first with a pink ball, at least you're going to be bowling with the lights are on later on, first up. So you're not that far of a disadvantage. But if you bat second, you're up against it, and the stats tell you that. Well, I think there's an issue with the batting, no question. They're up against, in my opinion, and you could argue that Jasprit Bumrah, when he finishes, we're talking about the greatest bowler to ever play the game. So you've got to be reasonable. And when he got the ball in hand on that day one, the pitch was doing it quicker, and he bowled probably one of the greatest spells that we've seen with the new ball. You know, he got the ball talking, whipping either way, clearly to the right hand, as that ball that nips back is a real threat, and he had it on a string. Look, we're not overreacting when we say there's a problem with the Australian batting. When you look back at the last 8 test matches, and the average are around 23, 25, 26, 30. The numbers are not what I'm used to with Australian cricket. And as Gilly said, the depth doesn't seem to be there. And I'm a big believer in big high-level sporting teams. When a team's really good, it's generally full of good players, but it's got a group of players underneath that are pushing them, you know, and keeping them on the toes, keeping them honest, keeping them really hungry to carry on scoring runs or doing well, because they know that if they don't, someone will take their place. And that would be my concern for Australia, is that I would think most of these players are looking around going, who's going to take my spot? And that's a concern when that juggernaut, the paddock, as Junior kept on saying, the paddock's pretty empty. And somehow they've got to try and fill up that paddock. And if you look at 10 of the 11 players are all over 30, so an aging team, Australia. We're actually seeing it in Man City, actually, in the Premier League back home, that they're quite an aging team and suddenly lost 5 on the trot, 3-0 up in Europe, draw 3-all. Aging teams generally have that period. If they're not careful, they go fall off the edge of the cliff. And I'll go back to last Australian summer. Obviously, David Warner had a farewell tour. Could they have kind of fit a new opener in somewhere earlier? And the 4 quicks played every single game. You know, that was an Australian summer for me, that they needed to rotate a little bit more to try and get a bigger number in their squad, but they chose not to. I think if they lose the toss at the Adelaide Oval, I think there's going to be some trouble.
Well, I guess when a team under pressure, cracks begin to show, and I always love when Ollie and I are searching through the cricket news and what's happening during the week when we get a headline that has one of your names in it. It was a little bit clickbaity, which is my favourite type of article. It was this one. Adam Gilchrist hints divide in Australian dressing room after Josh Hazlewood's pointy PC remark as hosts crash v India. So this was what you had to say. I wonder if there's a divide in Andrew McDonald's team between the batters and the bowlers. That came after Hazlewood said, you probably have to ask one of the batters that question. I'm probably looking mostly towards the next test. He was asked about the Aussies' approach in the first test. Is there a divide, Gilly? Are they sitting on different sides of the dressing room? Are they sitting at different tables at breakfast? Is there always been a divide between the batters and the bowlers, and you both think the other bunch is a bit weird?
Yeah, I was the borderline. Every team was divided, and your number 7 Wiki is the conduit between the Julio top 6 and the real workhorses in the bottom 4. So I had the pleasure of being the wall between Mexico and the US that Donald's trying to build again. Maybe I should be called the wall, but I was definitely the conduit. No, every number 7 is that piece that brings them all together. No, I wouldn't suspect there's a divide at all. I posed the question on the back of Josh's grab in the press conference where he was asked, "What do you got to do tomorrow?" And I think he answered saying, "What's he got to do?" Josh Hazlewood, the number 11, and he spoke pretty honestly and said, "Well, I've got to get a lot of massage because I just bowled a shit ton of overs and I'm stiff and sore. I'm number 11. I'm not going to do much. Ask the batters." So, but we threw it around him. We Vaughany on the panel the next morning. And as you say, there's plenty of. It seems like you can't say one line in commentary or in a coverage now without someone wanting to run an article on it and get an easy shot at it, and that's seems to be fair game these days. So we're all aware of that. We're all big kids. But that's about it. Nothing much in it, and of course they're not going to say there's a divide or anything like that. The bowlers were frustrated. The batters haven't got the runs. Same as the batters stand in the outfield when the bowlers are, the opposition are none for 200 and the batters are sitting there going, shit, we're going to get one soon or what? I don't think there's anything too much in it, mate.
Vaughany, obviously you weren't the wall, you weren't the middle, you sat on one particular side. Did you get on well with the bowlers in your team, or was there a genuine divide?
No, generally, yeah, but there's been times in my career in teams where there has been that divide. You know, the batter's not batting long enough, the bowler's having to go back out there. You know, they're a pack of wolves. The bowlers, they're the workhorses. They're the reason why you win games, the bowlers. But I don't think there is a divide. But I was very put back about the comments that Josh made. I'd never heard an Australian talk in that language when the game's still going on. There's still potentially 2 days to go, and he's talking about the following week. And I know it's tongue in cheek, but I'd never heard an Australian during a Test match speak with that kind of language. So I don't think there's an issue. I think they will bounce back. I think they've got enough in it to do so. But I do think it'll depend on the toss. You know, if they bat first, I think they'll get a decent number. And I think they'll put India under pressure. But if they're in the field first, I think they could be in trouble. And the same at the Perth Stadium. I think in Australia, they're batted first. I think they'd have got a good enough score. And I think they'd have put India under a huge amount of pressure. That pitch deteriorated. You know, as in that game in Lagos, you know, sometimes it's just about the toss.
Yeah.
No, same groundsman.
And I tell you what, you know, on that point, I think Nigeria got the big total, the Ivory Coast. I reckon, you know, they all out for 7. There might have been a bit of introspection there at the bar.
Yeah.
You know, I think they
over a Guinness. After Dublin, where we are the most Guinness drunk in the world, Lagos.
How are you getting on? How are you getting on with the G, with the Guinness?
Well, there's a bit of conjecture because certain people split the G, and then other people want to hit the mark between the harp and the top of the word Guinness. So we went to a bar in Monaco where we were doing that, and then now we're in Dublin and it's splitting the G. Do you know, Vaughany?
It's changed. Rules have changed in Dublin.
Well,
depending which country you're in. We've got a lot of abuse for not having enough, calling them weak Australians was the general consensus, because they were having less to sip on. But we learned from the crowd, it's the G.
It's the basically. G, right?
Yeah. Split the G.
Split the G. Gilly, on this series, and there's been a bit of chat around it. Let's say Vaughany's right, the toss, India win it, they go 2-0 up. Do you think there's going to be a bit of mentality of stick or twist with, you know, the likes of McSweeney, Labuschagne struggling stuff? Because as we've seen, I think you put on your story, another ton, I think it was for Bancroft. There are people domestically finding form. How do you think the selectors and management will go with that? Because it is tough in a series, isn't it, when you've got a big sort of group and you want to show faith, but how long does that sort of last, and how many runs do they have in the bank, some of these players?
Yeah, there's a bit to unfold before they have to pick the team for Brisbane. So just speculation. They haven't been a management that have looked for change. They've tried to create stability all the way through. Davey Warner's numbers weren't as at his lofty standards probably for the last 18 months, maybe 2 years, save for the big double ton against South Africa. But they didn't show a propensity to want to make that change through that period of time. So the heat seems to have come onto Marnus a bit quicker than maybe it has others. But yeah, it's hard to know. They don't look like a group that want to make wholesale changes. They're a pretty tight-knit group, and that's their prerogative. They've had some decent success up to this point. But we might all be looking back on these sort of this week of commentary by the end of Adelaide and saying nothing to worry about because they've all peeled off big runs. And yes, Bancroft got 100, but he's probably a couple of weeks too late to force his way in, obviously, to the start of the series, but the timing might be right if they start churning them out now.
Yeah, I mean, they've added Bo Webster to the squad.
Yeah.
Now, I believe Mitchell Marsh has pulled up a bit sore. Now, if Mitchell Marsh can't bowl, surely he plays as a batter. Surely, he's the one batter that looks actually like he's got a little bit of rhythm and a little bit of kind of flow to his play. The other one's Alex Carey. He looks like he's absolutely fine. Travis Head gets a good 89. Now, Gilly, I'll ask you. Yeah. If Mitchell Marsh can bat but can't bowl, he still plays. Agree?
Well, yeah, I think he's, again, going back to the...
and Bo Webster comes into the squad, but they'll need a fifth bowling option.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a chance that Bo Webster plays as well as Mitchell Marsh, because it could be that fifth bowling option.
Yeah,
and
so
someone
therefore,
drops out. Someone will be very unlucky, and it might be McSweeney if they go with that because of the misfortune of an injury. But they're going to need a fifth bowling option. It can't be Marnus running in bowling bouncers.
yeah, no, that's true. That is true. I don't know. I haven't thought about it until just now. And but
Next week.
you make a very good point. I was actually looking up. I remember Bo Webster, Big Bo he's from a town in Tasmania called Snug.
Oh, nice.
SNUG, Snug. And I remember on a Big Bash game once, I mentioned that, and someone said, "Oh, where is Snug?" And I said, "I think it's in the northwest corner of Tasmania." As it turns out, it's in the southeast corner of Tasmania, but it's quite a quaint little place, just not far out of Hobart, I think. But that's good for him. He's getting some good numbers, and Vaughany, that is a possibility. I think you're right. I think who knows, but back to the last year's selection philosophy, best 6 players in the country must bat in the top 6 for Australia. You would say that Mitch Marsh, with probably the best record over the last 8 test matches, and looked like he was hitting some nice touch in that second innings, should play no matter what. And then you've got to find some overs from somewhere else.
That's some good clickbait there. Adam Gilchrist says Mitchell Starc must play as a batsman. That's a good one. We'll see that tomorrow.
Sorry, Mitchell Marsh, I think I meant.
Sorry. So let me ask you this. We've got to do this because it's how we get the views. Virat Kohli. What is it about Australia that plays this guy back into shape? What is it in the conditions? Why does he love it so much down here? No, hasn't scored a ton for 18 months. Comes down, first test match. There you go. 100 for Virat.
I mean, in the first innings, he came out of his crease and was trying to get close to the ball, and one bounce. I thought, well, that's a bit dangerous at Perth. The second innings, the pitch quietened down. He came in a good position, but his movements are perfect for these wickets. The ball comes on. He's got that lovely punch through the offside. He was keeping his balance to work it on the onside. And anything slightly short, he was whipping onto that pull shot, the hook shot. Against Nathan Lyon, he just had a very simple game plan, just work it on the onside with the spin. Played a couple of sweep shots, actually. You don't see him sweep the ball too often. That's an ominous sign for Australia that he's found form. If you actually look at the week for India, it was almost perfect. They got 2 debutants, Nitish Kumar Reddy and Harshit Rana looked great. Both of them had good games, played with a lot of spirit. They were aggressive. India are a lot more aggressive than Australia. I know they were more on top, so that's going to be natural. But I was absolutely staggered that Yashasvi Jaiswal, who's the best young player in the world, he's a gun. He gets naught and then he hits 161. Played defensively, left the ball, then was flamboyant at the right time. But I was staggered that Australia didn't pepper him. Young player, whack it at his right shoulder, get a short leg, get a square of the wicket field, and just do it for 40, 50 minutes and just pepper him. Just to see how, generally in the past, Gilly, a young player comes to play here, you might give a player a chance to get to 20 and then you go, okay, we'll pepper him. Brett Lee, Dizzy, Steve Waugh himself would have bowled plenty of bounces. So I was a little bit surprised of how tame Australia were in the field. I thought they could be a bit more aggressive.
Yeah, fair call. Back on Virat, I think that the double innings collapse in the first innings of both teams worked in his favour. He looked like he came out probably a little bit trying to be a bit too authoritative in the first innings. He was buzzing. He was all about. His energy was right up the Richter scale. He got nipped out like a lot of them did, but I think that just had a chat with him after that next morning, and he said, "Oh yeah, so disappointed getting out." But then by the end of the day, you realise that's not a big failure compared to a lot of things that happen in that day. So he obviously processes it pretty quick. Had a beautiful platform when he came out in the second innings and just looked really in control and at ease. So, and then I tell you what helped him too. He was 60 odd by the time the motion came from Jasprit Bumrah, but that was positive cricket, like what you say, Vaughany. Everything was all about going forward, taking that game forward by the Indians. And for Bumrah, I thought they would just bat Australia out of that day and then come back and have a crack on day 4. But the call went out, showed some urgency. Nitesh Kumar Reddy smoked it everywhere. And Virat played a really aggressive back end of the innings. Reverse sweeps, you never seen reverse sweep. You never seen sweep. But he was taking it all on, played beautifully. It was a real pleasure to be there to watch. And, big Indian crowd there. They loved it. It was quite a moment. So, that's exciting. And Australia's opportunity now to try and come back and nullify that.
Now, we will have another show before the next test, so I won't get your predictions yet. I'll let you read a few articles, see who's in, who's out, who's why.
No, we're fine because we said 3-1, so the one's happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't want to change your predictions?
No, we said 3-1.
Yeah, Gilly?
I think Gilly might have said 3-2.
I was asked across about 8. It's like footy tipping. I'm in about 8 different competitions. I gave 8 different permutations, so I'm fine. I'm winning one of them.
Okay, very good.
Anything from 5-0 to 2-all, 3 washout, whatever. Like I've got it all. I'm rest and easy.
We'll fine-tooth comb that second test a bit more in the next episode, but there is another test match taking place down under, which I'm in Dublin. What time does it start in Dublin, Ollie?
I think 10 p.m. tonight,
10 p.m.
something
tonight.
like that, yeah.
So England will take on New Zealand, obviously. Well, both teams with it. Did you know that, Gilly?
No. Oh, shit. Are they in New Zealand?
They are. Obviously, New Zealand coming off a big series win. England, not so. Oh, you can't walk off now, and I was going to have a crack at England, Vaughany.
My light on.
Get some light, hopefully. There we go.
England, obviously, we remember what happened in Pakistan, box seat, and then just spilled their lollies for the last 2 tests. Vaughany, what's going to happen in New Zealand in this first test match, mate? It is, where is it? Christchurch. What's going to happen?
Jacob Bethel's making his debut at number 3. I think it's the first time since 1978 where England have picked a batter that has not got a first-class century. 1978, wow. The batter was?
You.
1978. Yeah, that's correct, Ollie. I was 4.
Yeah. 1978. I don't know. How old's Ian Botham?
Just think Shane Warne.
Gatting.
Mike Gatting, very good, Ollie.
Well
Mike Gatting was that batter. Yeah, so they go with Jacob Bethel. Ollie Pope's got the gloves. Who's
got the gloves?
Ollie Pope. He's going to keep.
How many other keepers are playing?
We haven't got any.
Cox is out. Oh. Jamie Smith on paternity leave. Ollie
how's the Michael Vaughan wicket
keeper rotation? Don't get tired, Popey.
I was thinking, Jarrell, if he had batted a bit of time, or Rishabh had a batted time, they might have been the first team to try it, India. And I think they might throughout the series at some stage. But on the grounds of what happens in world cricket, India lose to New Zealand at home 3-0. We give India no chance in Perth. India win. England lose in Pakistan. New Zealand win in India convincingly 3-0. So it's a hell-bent England victory this week.
How did you map that? Right. If you beat, you lose, and then you win.
Because the cricketing world is upside down.
Simple math.
No one actually wins when they should win.
It's simple math. There's been a spice in there.
Pakistan won the one-day series here. What did they do? They got a bull away to play the might of Zimbabwe. And guess what they did in the first game? They lost.
There you go. Good. Just theories. There's been a bit of spice added. I don't even seen some of these comments, Gilly. Darren Lehman has come out to throw a bit of what you say, a bit of spice on the fire. Talking about Joe Root. He's a great player, but is he an all-time great? I don't have him in that realm. Were the comments from Lehman. He's come back on Twitter, replied, just to be clear, people saying that I don't think Joe Root's not a great. He's going to be, and I know he's a wonderful ambassador, but he needs to have basically a good Ashes and get 100 in Oz. Then there's no debate. Joe Root came back and said, I'll do my job, he can do his job. Was the reply.
that's where, see, Buff had me up until halfway through his tweet. He's going to be a great. He just needs to ... We all know what Joe needs to do, and I suspect he's probably already done it.
He has done it.
Yeah, Tuesday,
Tuesday.
simple as that.
Yeah,
I mean, ashes, smashes, whatever. Like, we know greatness, and I assume, having grown up in the bloody county, Joe's done it.
Yeah, he did it as an 11-year-old in Sheffield on a Tuesday night.
Well, I tell you what, he's unlucky then, because how old's Joe? 33?
32 maybe.
Yeah,
41.
If he did that as an 11-year-old on a Tuesday night, he's stiff. The IPL's not around, because the young fella that he's 13 the other day got picked up in the IPL. Imagine what Joe would have got as an 11-year-old if he'd done it on a Tuesday night.
Well, exactly.
Let me try and get his name right. This young man, Vlad.
He's gone for a few quid as well, hasn't he? He's gone for about 150 grand.
Suravanshi. Suravanshi, you got that?
Yeah.
Do you think he'll play much, or is that more of a?
Well, it'll be at school.
Oh, yeah. Well, we won't play on a school night, right?
Weekend matches.
Friday or Saturday nights.
Maybe play at the weekend. I'll play at the weekend, maybe, or be around the squad at the weekend.
Yeah, he was £105,000 following his 58-ball century for India under-19 on debut, was what caught the eye of the selectors.
Which team grabbed him? Because obviously I was
your team, head of social media, Rajasthan Royals. Did you not do the announcement?
We've got him, have we? Yeah, that's good. I'll get to know him really well when I'm obviously back doing my rounds on the social media for the Royals. They obviously didn't need me in Saudi. They've got you've got my apprentice over there just looking after the Saudi auction, but I'll be there. I'll be there in April with them.
What was your top score at the age of 13, Vaughany?
My top 110. 110. Yeah, I got a 110 for Yorkshire boys, I think.
Did you?
Gilly?
Yeah.
No, mate. We were always retire at 40. I didn't get my first 100 until I was about 15, where I played in a game where I could go back in after having retired. The rest of the team gets out. You will them out, hope they get out, and you go back in and have a bit of a dip at the end. And I managed to sneak past 100 then. So 13, I was, yeah. But
we played time, Gil, Yorkshire boys time, and we, the day would be 6 hours of play.
Yep.
You bat 3 hours and then you declare and let the opposition bat 3 hours, but we used to bat 5 hours.
Some interesting stuff. If we are jumping around a bit, but this IPL auction, obviously for the Aussies, Josh Hazlewood went for the highest price. He went for 2.29 to RCB. You got to feel for Mitchell Starc. In one go, he's had his salary cut in half. Yeah. I mean, how's he going to survive?
Yeah. What's he gone for? He went for a load, didn't he? 2.6.
He went for 2.15, but last year he was 4.4.
Yeah.
Well, do you think he'll refuse it? Just say, look.
I'm worried about the family. Are they going to be able to still put, food on the table?
What about Sammy Curran? Sam Curran went from something like Ollie, do the research on this. I think it was 1.8 million US he was on. And I think he's on something like 300.
Yeah.
He's the biggest differential in terms of contracts.
Right. I think just to give it some perspective from yesteryear, I think when Mitchell Starc was on that 4.4 or 4.2, when he bowled his first, I'd have to do the exact math. His first either 4 balls, so when you break it down per ball for the tournament, when he bowled his first 4 deliveries, he earned more than the Australian cricket team did on the 81 and 85 Ashes tours.
Just going to turn the lights on, lads. The lights in Coogee seem to have gone out.
Okay. Looks lovely down there this evening, Vaughany.
Beautiful.
You were right on Curran, by the way. Yeah. 2 years ago, £154,000 he went for, 18.5 crore. He's now gone for 2.4 crore, which is a pay cut of 87%.
Oh, wow.
No, you said £150,000, 1.5 million.
Now, Rishabh went for the highest price.
Sorry, 1.5 million. Yeah,
didn't
he? A few dots there.
How much did Rishabh go for?
Rishabh was the
He was the highest
ever.
which we all predicted with Sourav, remember?
About 5.
Yeah, well, he's a friend of the pod. I think we've pushed Rishabh enough on this podcast, and I think I'm not too sure if it's in the contracts of people that come on the pod when they go for that amount of money. Do we get a percentage of that?
I think so. Or at least he could sponsor us. Wouldn't that be good? Welcome to Club Prairie Fire, brought to you by Rishabh Pant.
Just by Rishabh.
Well, the Delhi Capitals, there's still some in their budget, I saw. They didn't fully spend. I think it's 0.2 crore or something. And we all put ourselves forward. I didn't get a call.
No, I didn't either.
Sourav for off spin, which is tough. But he actually went after some Aussies, didn't he? Mitch Stark and Fraser McGurk.
Fraser went for a few quid, didn't he? He got a nice number.
Yeah, he went for 1.865 million.
Yeah,
Aussie. Which we've learnt that's not many euros being here in Dublin. Doesn't convert very well when you're trying to buy a pint. Anything else on the IPL there, lads, or should we keep jumping around? Oh, you want all the unsold players. These were interesting. Let me run through some big names here. David Warner. I don't know if you blokes know him. I think he sits between you occasionally there on Fox. Johnny Bairstow. Stay in your crease, Johnny. Didn't get picked up. Kane Williamson, Daryl Mitchell, Finn Allen, Ben Duckett, James Vince. Big names here.
Jimmy Anderson.
Oh, he didn't get picked up.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, the Pakistan Super League's on at the same time. And it's a bit shorter. So I would think that the names you've just mentioned will all be going to Pakistan.
Yeah, right. Well, makes sense.
What about
Steve Smith?
What about the? Have you read about the Global Super League?
No.
Well, that's just been announced. It's coming out of Guyana in the Caribbean, and there's hope that it'll reform the ill-fated CL Champions League T20, where a bit like the Champions League football in Europe, where all the winning teams go in from each country. Only trouble is the first 5 teams in this tournament aren't the champions of their respective competitions. In fact, one of them, Victoria, doesn't even play in a T20 competition. I don't know how they've managed. So Hampshire, Lahore, what are they? Qualanders.
Gilly, just Google Lahore Qualanders coach. Just Google it.
Fasim Akram, is it?
No. You'll not get it. You could have 300 guesses and you would not get it.
Ollie, you Google that one.
Yeah, Ollie's on it.
The Rangpur Riders, Victoria, and the Guyana Amazon Warriors are all in there. They're who we got?
Darren Goff.
Goffy. There you go. I did read that actually. I should have remembered that.
Yeah, he'll do well there. You like that? Yeah.
So Vic, you go.
Yeah, so that's on now. That's another one to throw in the mix. And this is all sprouting the fact that they've just found new oil. They've done the Jed Clampett over there in the last few years, and they've got oil offshore. So they want to reinvigorate the country and bring tourism in through this tournament. But their teams, their respective teams that are there, are a bit depleted. Gudakesh Moti, the West Indian spinner, he's chosen to play for the Guyana Amazon Warriors in this tournament and not play in the Test series against Bangladesh. But some of the other teams are depleted because they're playing in the Abu Dhabi T10 League.
Are we going to reach a stage where there's actually not enough cricketers in the world to fill all these leagues?
Yeah. And what I feel, Test cricket's fucked. It's gone.
No, but Gilly, I'm glad you mentioned the T10 League because I remember putting this picture up on the Foxy WhatsApp group of a bowler obviously got his run up slightly wrong.
Oh, true. Yeah, bring it a little bit closer, Vaughany, just to be sure. So for those who can't see it clearly, now you can.
Vaughany, if you talk now, it'll come up on the big screen. So you talk us through what we're looking at.
Well, you can see here, obviously if you're listening, there's a bowler in, I'm not too sure what the bowler is called, but he's playing in the T10 League. And I'm not exaggerating when I would say he is probably 3/4 of a metre over the line.
Is that what's happened in the run-up there? Is that?
Well, he's obviously, they put paint down, don't they? He's obviously got the same initials as someone else who's in his team.
Yeah,
and he's gone from the wrong spot.
Vaughany too. I just saw a WhatsApp message from Roxy appear there. You might want to get back to her too. Like, just
bad news for Goffey. First game was just now in that new Global Super League, and the Calanders lost 125 all out, 48 from Tommy Abel, but the Guyana Amazon Warriors chased it down easily with Shy Hope, 45 not out. So we'll keep a close eye on that league, I think.
Moeen Alley.
Worth looking. Goffey's lost his first to be under a bit of pressure there.
$1 million for prize money. So yeah.
Jeez, was that Goffey then in that picture?
That is it.
No,
that's Goffey.
Hold that up to the camera. Is this Darren Goff?
Yeah, he's looking well.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, with his glasses on.
Yeah, and
very good.
Yorkshire buffer.
Now, gents, I am conscious of the edit that Ollie and I need to do in Dublin to get this thing out. So we might jump to the quiz if you guys are happy for that. Oll's prepared us a quiz. What is the subject, Oliver?
It's all about the first test because it was just a great viewing. Obviously, didn't miss a ball through the night. So we're just going to see how much attention you guys were paying, really, more than anything. So let's get into it. And as Prof says, we're going to try and get this out immediately, so we get it out before the England New Zealand test. So question number 1, and this is the closest gets the point. How many runs did the Australian top 4 get in the first test match? It was their lowest ever total.
26.
It's more than that. Not. I don't think you're far off. 27.
Oh.
29 is the answer.
That's all Price is Right rules. That's what he's done there.
He's on a hot streak. Okay. Number 2. Was Nathan Lyon's bowling strike rate in the first test higher or lower than Jaswal's total runs?
Strike rate in the whole test.
In the test.
I think his strike rate is lower than his total runs.
Okay. Lower than Jaswal's runs.
So I'm compelled to go higher, am I, or do I need to actually say?
You can go for the win if you'd like.
I'm going to say it was higher.
Jaswal 161 runs. Nathan Lyon strike rate 132. So Vaughany, you were right.
I thought you meant Jaswal's strike rate, but you said his runs, right?
Runs, yeah.
I should.
Strike rate was around 50 odd. I think 58 or something. Number 3, keepers included. Who took the most catches in the test match?
Oh.
Focus on
how do you do closest to the answer here? Is if it's somebody that looks like him?
Yeah. No, we'll do number. We'll do number if they. I think they play a wrong.
Okay, all right. Yeah, very good.
Rishabh
Pant. Yeah.
Oh fuck! Have I got this wrong? Steve Smith. It says.
How many DJ?
3.
Rishabh took about 5 or 6.
Rishabh took 2 high. He took 2 skiers. He got
excluding keepers. I said I didn't watch much of it.
Excluding keepers.
You both get a point.
Okay.
Good stuff. I did think that was wrong. Okay, anyway. Was Josh Hazlewood's bowling average higher or lower than Jasprit Bumrah's?
What, in the match?
Lower.
Oh, he went for nothing, didn't he?
Yeah. But you're 4 for in the first as well. 4 for spit.
Sneaky
4 for spit. Yeah, but I'll go Jasper just to keep it interesting.
You say Jasper. I guess you're going high. Josh Hazlewood's average was 11.4. Bumrah's was 9. So Vaughany, you are right again.
Vaughany is.
But Gilly was right. Hazlewood, I think Connolly was 1.67. I think throughout the whole test match or something. Absolutely extraordinary figures.
Vaughany, discounting the Rishabh Pant question, you could get 5 from 5 here, Vaughany.
Yeah, well, this is like Man City losing 5.
Yeah.
Remarkable.
Question number 5. Jaswal hit some amazing shots, including some massive 6s. Which player hit the same amount of maximums as Jaswal in the test match?
Mitchell Marsh.
Nitesh Kumar Reddy.
Gilly. Well
Good answer, Gilly.
There's the last one wins the words. There you go. But no,
I was going to say, if I lost 5-0, I had more to do at the game than Vaughany. I had to concentrate on host. I had to write out questions for the post-match presentation, which we all love doing.
That's always nice to see Gilly in the corner writing down some questions.
just when you're meant to be enjoying the game finishing and watching all the action, beads of sweat start coming down.
It's a horrible job.
Right, well, that's us, gents. While you grab your tequila, I'll sell where we are. We are at Club Prairie Fire on everything. So please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family. Gilly, do the honours.
Simple one. Again, it's not. I'm not going to. Oh, Jesus.
Jeez, that's a big one.
And with good reason. I'm not going to Prairie Fire. I'm going to leave it nice and clean, out of respect. Simple as this. Gents, 10 years, Phil Hughes, may he rest in peace.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Cheers. So we'll be Wednesday or Thursday next week. One of those.
Guys, what happens in Dublin today?
We're going to we're going to the Australian consulate for, I don't know why.
No,
there's every chance one of them's getting locked up.
Yeah.
So
we got a message. They just said, we'd love to take you for lunch. We love the show from the embassy. No joke.
Right. So,
no way.
Yes. What are you planning on wearing?
This is all we look. Tracksuit pants. This is all we've got. Runners.
Grey trackies.
It is unreal. Can't wait for the photos.
So we went to the World Rugby Awards, but obviously we lost our black tie on the way. We were going to the World Rugby Awards, and it's proper black tie, tuxedos.
Yeah.
We then sat in a pub. We thought we're not going. And then the lady that had organised it for us insisted on us coming. So we wore this to the World Rugby Awards. And just the four of us walked in, and like all the best rugby players from the globe.
Regan, Eels, just everyone shaking their heads.
And they just go, what is wrong? And we go, we lost our luggage. They insisted we come. We lost our luggage. It was like a bad dream, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Brian O'Driscoll hated it. All of it was. It was
what is
enhanced.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been a great week, guys. I'm pretty keen to get home.
Yeah, I bet you are. When do you actually come home?
We had Monday night or Tuesday morning, one of them. Yeah. Can't wait. Via Dubai, we're doing a recce in Dubai for some cricket, obviously.
Yeah,
trying to sign a contract with Sourav.
Start a league while you're there.
We need more.
Yeah,
we're back in Australia though.
Yep.
So, Vaughany, are you in Sydney?
Yep.
I'm in Sydney next week.
So where are you?
Have we actually signed off the podcast yet, or?
No, we have.
Yeah.
Have we?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Well, remarkably, you've watched the show. Thank you. That's all I can say. And if you really like it, press something, I don't know, something on the screen, press it, or subscribe. That'd be really handy. It'd be really nice. Thank you.